Year 1. This is the first time I'm going to do story time with Miss Barr on the class blog. So I thought we'd start with this book we've started in school. We've started reading Grace and Family, so I'm going to read from the beginning and then read a little bit more, and we'll think about what is happening in the story before I read you the next section. Grace and Family. Grace lived with her ma and her nana and a cat called Paw Paw. Next to her family, what Grace liked best was stories. Some she knew and some she made up, and she was particularly interested in ones about fathers, because she didn't have one. "You do too have a father," her ma said when she caught Grace talking that way. "I must have told you 100 times about how we split up and your papa went back to Africa. He has another family now, but he's still your father, even though he doesn't live with us anymore." Well, that wasn't Grace's idea of a father. She wanted one like Beauty's, who brought her roses from the beast's garden, in spite of the dangers. Not one she hadn't seen since she was very little, and only knew from letters and photographs. And in her school reading books, Grace saw that all the families had a mother and a father, a boy and a girl, and a dog and a cat. "Our family's not right," she told Nana. "We need a father and a brother and a dog." "Well," said Nana, "I'm not sure how Paw Paw would feel about a dog. And what about me? Are there any nanas in your school books?" Grace shook her head. "So do you want me to go?" asked Nana, smiling. "Of course not," Grace said, hugging her. Nana hugged her back. "Families are what you make them," she said. Then one day when Grace got home from school, she saw a letter on the table with a crocodile stamp on it. Grace knew it must be from Papa, but it wasn't a Christmas or her birthday. Ma said, "Guess what? Your Papa sent the money for 2 tickets to visit him in Africa for the Easter holidays. Nana says she'll go with you if you want. What do you say?" But Grace was speechless. She had made up so many fathers for herself, she had forgotten what the real one was like. Grace and Nana left for Africa on a very cold grey day. They arrived in the Gambia in golden sunshine, like the hottest summer back home. It had been a long, long journey. Grace barely noticed the strange sights and sounds that greeted her. She was thinking of Papa. "I wonder if he will still love me," thought Grace. "He has other children now, and in stories it's always the youngest that's the favourite." She held on tightly to Nana. Outside the airport was a man who looked a little like Papa's photo. He swung Grace up in his arms and held her close. Grace buried her nose in his shirt and thought, "I do remember." In the car she noticed how different everything seemed. There were sheep wandering along the roadside and people selling watermelons under the trees. And when they reached her father's compound, there was the biggest difference of all. A very young, pretty woman with a little girl and a baby boy came to meet them. Grace said hello but couldn't manage another word all evening. Everyone thought she was just tired, except Nana. "What's the matter, honey?" she asked when they went to bed. "You've got a father and a brother now, and they even have a dog." But Grace thought, "They make a storybook family without me. I'm one girl too many. Besides, it's the wrong ma." The next day, Grace started to get to know Nana and Bakary. The children thought it was wonderful to have a big sister all the way from England, and Grace couldn't help liking them too, but she had to feel cross with someone. Grace knew lots of stories about wicked stepmothers, Cinderella, Snow White, Hansel and Gretel, so she decided to be cross with Jatu. I won't clean the house for her, thought Grace. I won't eat anything she cooks, and I won't let her take me to the forest. Jatu made a big dish of savoury Benjamin for lunch, but Grace wouldn't eat any. I'm not hungry, she said. She's probably still getting over the long flight, said Jatu. So I'm going to stop there. I'm going to put a little marker in so that we know where we are ready for tomorrow. Now, so far, Grace started dreaming of having a fairy tale father like Beauty's in Beauty and the Beast, and that's the kind of father she wanted when she lived with her mum, her cat Paw Paw, and she also lived with her nana in England. We find out here about Daddy being in Africa, and he sends the money for Grace to go and visit him during the Easter holidays, and her nana goes with her. Now, on the way to Africa, she doesn't really notice a lot, especially when she gets to the airport, because she's too busy thinking about her dad. And as soon as she sees her dad and he holds her tight, she remembers exactly who he is. That's when she starts to see all the different things that are happening in Africa. There are people selling watermelons under the trees, and there are animals walking in the street. Very, very different to England. Then when she gets to her dad's home, his compound, she meets Jatu, which is her daddy's new wife, and she has a little sister and a little brother and a dog. So Nana is hoping that Grace is happy because she was saying she wanted a brother and a dog. However, Grace wasn't quite happy because she said to Nana that she is one girl too many. There is already a sister, a brother, a dog, a mummy and a daddy, and it's not her mummy. So she decides to be cross with Jatu. And Jatu is still smiling and making her some nice food, but she just chooses to ignore her and do her favourite thing in reading her stories. Before we read more for tomorrow, I'd like you to have a think about do you think Grace is making the right choice by doing this? And what do you think is going to happen next? See you tomorrow.